Today I'm talking about a subject to deal that I was like this close on. It's pretty cool. I think you're going to like it. This lady was asking very good questions. She was ready to make a deal. It was just a matter of were we the best option. The seller finance solution allows me as a buyer to pay more because I can go in and say, I'll give you your price, but you're going to give me a loan at 1% with a 30-year amortization. To me, it's always a factor of how saleable something is. There's only one of me, but if I can teach and train, then I can multiply my efforts with our team. Welcome back to REI Hot Seat. Andrew Hines here for another solo episode of the show. Totally my fault, not Jake's fault at all. I just have not been able to do these Monday recording dates. So recording this one a little late, so this episode's dropping a little later than usual, but I appreciate you checking out this one. It's pretty cool. I think you're going to like it. So today I'm talking about a subject to deal that I was like this close on. And for those of you who are looking at the screen right now, yeah, like just millimeters away from getting it done. Basically, it was our offer up against a cash offer. So our offer was $192,500, and the cash offer was $180,000, but it was all cash. So first off, I'll give you this scenario. So this was a lady who's been in a house since 2007. Well, it's a condo, Miami, right off Biscayne, like just really ideal. It's a for sale by owner situation. So one of our acquisitions managers was talking with her, and it came up that the cash offer wasn't going to work. And I said, hey, what about a subject to? In other words, we take over her loan. Well, that wasn't going to work because her loan was only like $25,000. So then the discussion came up, what about seller financing? And she was open to it. She just didn't love it because she had some credit card debt to pay out. In my experience, just kind of all the content I've consumed and having pitched this a handful of times now, the seller finance solution allows me as a buyer to pay more because I can go in and say, I'll give you your price, but you're going to give me a loan at 1% with a 30-year amortization for a 30-year term. That's where I started on this one. 30 got smashed out of the park, and no, I'm not interested in that. A lot can happen in 30 years. Fair enough. I offered, well, what if we could do a 15-year balloon? She was interested, but she thought about it over the weekend and wanted something closer to 5 years. Ultimately, I agreed that I would match that. I would go see if, I would check with Matt, my business partner on all this, Matt Pichet, and confirm if he was good with that. And then we would come back to her if that was her true objection. Turns out that wasn't her true objection. It was when I pressed on that I found out there was another potential cash offer, which, this deal might come back around. But as of right now, it sounds like she went to take the cash offer. So assuming that deal falls apart, this might still be our deal. But basically, I'm just going to walk through the fundamentals. So ultimately, let's get to the important stuff. This was going to be a $200 a month cash flow. It was going to be an estimated, say, 30% return. I got 33 showing here, but so approximately $28,500 down payment plus some closing costs. And why was it so good? $192,000 for a condo in downtown Miami. There are some negatives. I'll get into those, but I had her original mortgage details in here. I just zeroed it out, assumed we paid that off, and that she gave us $164,000 first mortgage. Originally, I was going to give her 1% 30-year am. She said, I don't even care about the interest. I just want it to be done sooner. So I just ran it at a 25-year am. And so if we were this close to getting this one, it would have been, the agreement was 6 years at 0%. And I know close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but I like to think that we're going to get, we make enough of these offers, we will get a yes. And that's one thing that was very clear to me. Like, this lady was asking very good questions. She was ready to make a deal. It was just a matter of, were we the best option? And truth be told, and I said this to her, if I were in your shoes, I would do the same thing. I'd take the 180 cash. Because yes, we're giving more money, but it's over 6 years. And she had a specific issue with some credit card debt right now, and I wasn't able to help with that. There was a number of hairy obstacles on this deal. This wasn't the sweetest, bestest deal. I don't really want to go buy a $192,000 condo to have one condo in Miami. Of course, the goal would be part of a bigger portfolio, so I'm okay with it in that regard, but I'm also okay with letting the deals pass if it's not going to be a great deal, because I think there are many great deals out there. The thing I noticed with the with the distressed seller situations is they bury their heads in the sand until it's almost too late. Like they pretty much wait until like there's already been a default judgment. So the way it works is there's list pendants issued, which basically means you're behind. It's a court filing. And then at some point within the next, I would say 8 to 16 months, they do a default judgment. From the default judgment, I've seen it be just 2 months to the auction. And you're in like, it's almost impossible to make it work at that point. We had one fall apart where the lady signed the agreement, wanted us to close. We wanted to buy it. And we literally couldn't get the HOA, the homeowners association, to approve us in time to close. They wouldn't do it. We asked them, we're like, hey, he's going to get kicked out on the street. We want to buy her place. They wouldn't help her. So ultimately she got kicked out, got nothing. It's really sad. Like those situations, I was having trouble with it. I don't like those situations. I like to be able to come in and let them walk away. And some of the ones we're talking to, like we can create a solution where they're walking away with 50 grand in their pocket, to get onto that next step, save their credit. Like in those scenarios, if we can do that, we're such a value add, which is what I want to be a value add so we can create that true win-win. So in this one, it would have been a great win-win. This lady would have ended up getting $550 a month in cash flow. The only negative was she did have, ballpark $25,000 in unsecured debts that she needed to pay out, and they're all at high interest rates. So yes, that $550 a month would have helped, but it would have taken her a little while. So this was the best deal I could figure offering. I couldn't really go any higher than that and make it make sense for us. I'm targeting a 30% paper return on any of these deals that I'm going to do. I might flex over a point or two, but that's my target. And there's enough deals out there. It's just about getting into enough of those conversations and just offering it more and more. So one of the big things Matt and I do is we work with our team a lot to make sure they understand the concept, they understand how to pitch it, and they understand why it's a benefit to the seller. And the more, I'm more than happy to spend time doing that. Like I like spending my time teaching and training rather than just doing, because there's only one of me, but if I can teach and train, then I can multiply my efforts with our team. So I'm really into how that's been working. So just for the record, for anybody wondering, we are offering on properties throughout Florida. We're doing distressed seller homes right now, and then a whole bunch of land lists. So any given day, we might get anywhere from 8 to 25 leads, new leads come in, and then we've got our team calling these people back. So there are people who are cold called. They said, yeah, I'm interested in selling. And then we go in and try and close. And obviously not everyone is a fit. So we work through those, and we have our first deal, which I'm pretty darn confident. The last couple, we've had a couple fall through, and I had a feeling that they would. This one, I'm pretty darn confident we're all good to go. This one looks like we'll do approximately. We're going to do about 95,000 on the buy. We should be selling for double that. So that's, right around 190, 195 is where we expect that one to land. That's the true model of what we're attempting to do here is we're attempting to double our money. If we're, buy at 50 cents on the dollar with the land. With the houses, I'll flex more on that. To me, it's always a factor of how saleable something is. So we'll look at something if it's a piece of land in a high transaction area where the type of land we're buying, there's comps all over the place, and we have a very good idea of how long they take to sell. I'd be willing to pay more for what we're acquiring, but I like the hedge. I like shooting at that 50 cents on the dollar range. And if somebody wants to be at 70 cents on the dollar and I start at 50, we'll negotiate to that. So I don't feel like that approach is costing me anything. The ones that are willing to come off of retail, but not all the way, we have solutions for those too, which I could get into on another episode. For today, I just wanted to show how a creative finance, seller finance deal for a Canadian, where Canadians buying this, can work. And you might be wondering, and I'll just flash over to the screen one more time. You might be wondering, how would we pitch something like this? Well, I would be just talking about this part. Like, of course, if the seller asks what's the interest rate, I'm going to tell them, but I'm just going to say, hey, well, we've got $28,500 cash coming to you. In this case, that covers the first mortgage. So there wouldn't be a ton left, maybe a few thousand to go towards debts and getting relocated. Not a fantastic solution. We've got the seller finance, which I had to get up to there. Like, the big thing I noticed with these deals is it's all a factor, especially with these lower cash flow deals. It's all a factor of how much we're putting down. We can't be putting a ton into them if if they're going to be lower cash flow. Like the bigger, it could be an Airbnb and we can juice the revenues. Now we can put a slightly larger down payment, but I really had to push this up to 164, which leaves less available to the seller at the end of the day. And then I had takeover payments here, in this case 0, because the first mortgage was pretty aggressive payments. Wouldn't have been that much of a help. The best deal I could come up with that's going to cash flow was as I structured. So anyways, for those of you wondering, this is just a modified version of my cash flow sheet. But let me know in the comments if you would like me to make this available to people. I could create a sanitized version of it and have it available. I just like to know, I do have my normal spreadsheet, but this one actually amortizes both mortgages. So if you have an existing mortgage and a new mortgage, calculates amortization on both. One of the other things it does is really cool is it factors your pay down on both. So, the big benefit here on this one is the pay down with the 0% interest rate and principal only. It really does help the overall return. So if we got this one, my idea would have been take it to 5 years. We'd have the mortgage down. We can go down here to at 5 years, it's 60 months. Mortgage would be 131. If we got to 6 years, that'd be 72 months. We're around 125. So, that to me is pretty darn comfortable. A condo that today, would be around 200 grand for 6 years out to owe 130 on it. I feel real darn comfortable at that rate. I'm pretty conservative with this stuff. I like to invest in stuff where I feel that I'm covered 6 ways from Sunday. With something like this, I really do feel like I am. We were factoring standard rents, $1,925 a month. Like if we were able to do a little bit of a light reno and better photos and get that up to 22, 23, like now we're laughing, absolutely laughing. So anyways, let me know what you think of this deal. You want to see more videos like this? Drop a comment below. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm really hoping we can connect with Jake again next week because he's got a pile of deals we want to go through and lots of ways to make cash flow in Ontario, which I'm still excited to talk about. And of course, I'm doing it too. So for those of you who aren't aware, we have our glamping facilities. We're now open. We've got people coming in. We just had our opening weekend last weekend, and we got the long weekend coming up. And would you believe people are camping in early May in large quantities? So we're super excited for how that's working out. If you want to check that out, at the Grotto Getaway Glamp on Instagram or grottogetaway.com to check out that. And then, of course, we've got our cottage resort, Neptune's Hideaway, which you can search on Google and find us as well. So I will look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks a lot for tuning in to REI Hot Seat, and we'll see you then.